And then we also talked about Microsoft Cloud and CUI. A lot of people are on Microsoft Commercial, which is potentially doable, but also risky. If you have to make sure that you have no CUI coming in an email or going out an email. If you do, you need to have a incident response plan. Make sure your policies and procedures, obviously, and everybody's trained to recognize when CUI comes in incorrectly, or make sure they know that they're not supposed to send CUI, but if they do, that they reach out to IT and get the incident response plan initiated so that the CUI could be cleaned up, removed. If anybody needs notified, they get notified. Uh, to be safe, GCC high is probably the better route to go. It's allowed to handle CUI, and then GCC high if you're getting into export control and ITAR, you're probably going to need to be GCC high. And you guys can ask any questions about these as well as we progress. Remote desktop server. If you're using a remote desktop server, how does that limit your scope? And is the machines that you're using to connect to the server within scope? And assume that the remote desktop server is isolated and on its own enclave. The devices that are connecting in would be out of scope, and as long as you control the flow of CUI, like CUI can't come from the remote desktop server to the endpoint. It has to be locked down, and the assessor would be verifying that. And then also we talked about those assets that are being used to access the remote server would still probably be spot checked for basic security protections, like making sure you have endpoint protection and things like that, and patching.